The history of currency and the mark of the beast. First was the bartering system. The bartering system is an ancient mode of commerce that involves the exchange of goods and services without using money. It is a method of exchange where goods or services are directly traded for other goods or services without using a medium of exchange, such as money. Bartering usually involves a mutual agreement or negotiation process between parties to determine the relative value of exchanged goods or services. Second was coins. The first coins were minted in the ancient kingdom of Lydia around 600 BC. Made from electrum, a natural alloy of gold and silver, these coins featured stamped designs to certify their authenticity and value. Understanding how early coins emerged reveals not just a method of payment, but a significant shift in economic systems and social interaction. From the Lydians to the Romans, various cultures contributed to the development of coinage, each adding unique features and values to their currencies. Third was paper. The use of paper money in the United States dates back to 1690. In 1862, the Legal Tender Act authorized the government to print paper money to finance the Civil War, departing from the traditional use of gold and silver coins as currency. Fourth was drawn notes/checks. Checks. The concept of checks can be traced back to ancient civilizations, where early forms of written payment instructions were used to facilitate trade and commerce. In the United States, checks started cropping up toward the end of the 17th century, with the first printed versions introduced in 1762 by British banker Lawrence Childs. Historically, checks were a popular means of payment in the U.S. due to federal law discouraging banks from issuing their own paper currency. Fifth was credit cards. The first credit card was the Diners Club card, which started in 1950 in New York City. The card was initially made of cardboard and had 10,000 users in the first year, with 28 restaurants and 2 hotels participating. The magnetic stripe for credit cards was created by IBM in the early 1960s to store customer and transaction history and information. Sixth was debt cards. The Bank of Delaware is widely credited with inventing the first prototype of the debit card in 1966. Debit cards for payment have a long history, with technological advancements and changes in ownership and behavior. Credit card ownership is a limited personal loan, and responsible behavior is essential to avoid unpaid bills and high interest rates. Seventh was chip-based credit cards. Chip-based payment systems, known as EMV, were introduced in the USA in 2015 by MasterCard, Visa, and other financial groups to replace the swipe and sign system and improve security. Prior to that, the use of chip-based credit cards for payments started with the introduction of chip and PIN technology. Instead of relying on a signature, the system introduced a small embedded chip in the card, which stored the cardholder's data securely. The French inventor Roland Moreno patented the chip card, also referred to as the smart card, in 1975. The EMV chip in credit cards helps keep transactions more secure by creating unique transaction codes that can't be used again. Eighth was autopay. Late 1990s autopay and paperless billing for payment started in the late 1990s as a way for businesses to save money. It gained momentum during the pandemic when more people started to rely on digital communication and services. To enroll in autopay and paperless billing, you can use your bank account, debit card, or credit card. The automatic payment and paperless billing discount is a monthly statement credit offered to eligible customers. Ninth was smartphone, cryptocurrencies, e-wallets etc. Late 1990s and early 2000s mobile payments for payments started in the late 1990s and early 2000s. According to reports, the very first e-wallet, established as far back as 1997, was linked to the first digital payment system. Coca-Cola built a payment system that enabled transactions to be carried out via text message, allowing them to buy soft drinks through their mobile phones. This event was the launchpad of the modern-day e-wallet, although the systems and solutions employed today operate on multiple levels, such as online and point-of-sale, and mobile launched the first contactless payment system, SpeedPass, in the same year. PayPal, which allowed money transfers and e-commerce payments online, was developed in 1999. The first patent specifically defining a mobile payment system was filed in 2000. 10th was microchips. Microchipping was first introduced in the UK in 1989 and is internationally recognized as a permanent method of identification and traceability of pets. Microchip was first implanted into a human back in 1998, but it is only during the past decade that the technology has been available commercially. And when it comes to implantable payment chips, British-Polish firm, Walletmore, says that last year it became the first company to offer them for sale. The implant can be used to pay for a drink on the beach in Rio, a coffee in New York, a haircut in Paris, or at your local grocery store, says founder and chief executive Wojciech Paprota. It can be used wherever contactless payments are accepted. Walletmore's chip, which weighs less than a gram and is little bigger than a grain of rice, is comprised of a tiny microchip and an antenna encased in a biopolymer, a naturally sourced material, similar to plastic. For many of us, the idea of having such a chip implanted in our body is an appalling one, but a 2021 survey of more than 4,000 people across the UK and the European Union found that 51% would consider it. However, without giving a percentage figure, the report added that invasiveness and security issues remained a major concern for respondents. Mr. Pauman says he doesn't have any of these worries. Chip implants contain the same kind of technology that people use on a daily basis, he says, from key fobs to unlock doors, public transit cards like the London Oyster card, or bank cards with contactless payment function. 11th was QR codes. QR codes for payments started in the USA in December 2010, when patents were filed by Sean Cooley and Andrew Charles Payne based on a prototype system developed for Norton Labs at Symantec called Norton Mobile Pay. Since then, contactless payments, including QR code-enabled payment methods, have become more widespread in the U.S. More on the microchip, a permanent method of identification and traceability. A list of popular uses for microchip implants are as follows. Microchips can do 1. Use to identify and trace your movements. 2. Address book. 3. Cryptocurrency by scanning a QR code with microchip. 4. Keycard, open doors, home and car, even used to start your car. 5. Medical history/medical records. 6. Medical identification. 7. Replaces the driver and state ID. 8. Pay bills. 9. Buy groceries. 10. Digital passport. 11. Pay traffic tickets. 12. Digital banking, replacing banking as we know it. 13. Get paid. 14. If you need to buy or sell any and all things, it will be the new form of currency that you must use. 15. All and everything about you can and will be accessed by the microchip. Revelation 13 verse 17 KJV states that no man might buy or sell, save he that had the mark, or the name of the beast, or the number of his name. This is also mentioned in Revelation 13 verses 16 to 18, which states that people will be forced to receive a mark on their right hands or on their foreheads, so that they could not buy or sell unless they had the mark. In terms of day-to-day, human microchips allow easy and fast cashless payments, automatic device control, and a method of identification. Some argue that human microchips represent the next stage in technological and human evolution. We already use mobile phones and other wearable devices, so why not take the leap to microchipping? New findings point to a surge in human implant technology, or microchips, at the workplace by the end of this decade. Advanced, a global financial software provider, surveyed over 5,000 senior decision-makers and found that 47% anticipate the adoption of employee microchips in the workplace by 2030. The benefits of being chipped include employees becoming walking keycards, allowing them to seamlessly open doors, log into computers, and improving the all-around security of the workplace. As it stands, employers are unable to legally require an employee to be microchipped, or make it a condition of employment. There are a few positives to being chipped, such as monitored health and work habits. Microchipped employees a strong possibility by 2030. Having some autonomy over how they work, when they take breaks, and working at times when they feel most productive is an important part of employee well-being, said Alex Arundel, Chief People Experience Officer at Advanced HR. Many HR professionals believe performance management tools are a better indicator of employee productivity. Particularly after the COVID-19 pandemic, the use of AI-driven surveillance tools has grown in usage to monitor the output of remote or hybrid workers. Millions of workers across the UK are currently observed by managers during their work hours through the use of cloud-based working systems. This allows managers to analyze the worker output instead of the activity level of the workers themselves, giving managers the ability to streamline or automate certain tasks as well. Human microchip implants take center stage, January 30, 2023. World Economy, Trade and Finance. Jean-Naël Malko-Smith argues that implanted microchips offer alluring benefits of convenience and mobility. The novelty of replacing one's home key with a microchip implant is gaining worldwide interest, but there's another more compelling story under the surface. Why is this technology, an integrated circuit the size of a grain of rice? Today, more than 50,000 people have elected to have a subdermal chip surgically inserted between the thumb and index finger, serve as their new swipe key, or credit card. In Germany, for example, more than 2,000 Germans have opted to receive these implants. One man even used it to store a link to his last will and testament. As chip storage capacity increases. Chip implants are just one of the many types of emerging technologies in the Internet of Things and expanding digital cosmos of wirelessly connected Internet-enabled devices. Some technologists are worried, however, that hackers targeting Internet of Things vulnerabilities in sensors and network architecture also may try to hack chip implants. Radio frequency identification, RFID, chips are identifying transponders that typically carry a unique identification number and can be tagged with user data such as health records, social media profiles, and financial information. RFID chips are passive transponders, which means the digital reader must be positioned a few inches away from the user's microchipped hand to communicate. In contrast, near-field communication, NFC, chips use electromagnetic radio fields to wirelessly communicate to digital readers in close proximity, much like smartphones and contactless credit cards. A benefit of NFC over RFID is international use, reasons biohacks. With the power of existing infrastructure and the wide variety of services and products already supporting the NFC standard globally, one huge benefit of ours is that we overlap virtually any private or public sector already using NFC or mobile tech. According to a 2021 United Kingdom-based consumer survey by Propeller Insights on digital payment trends in Europe, 51% of the approximately 2,000 respondents said they would consider getting a chip implant to pay for services. This technology is especially popular in Sweden as a substitute for paying with cash. Only 1 in 4 people living in Sweden use cash at least once a week, writes NPR. More than 4,000 Swedes have replaced keycards for chip implants to use for gym access, e-tickets on railway travel, and to store emergency contact information. The technology also may offer increased mobility for people with physically limiting health conditions, such as rheumatoid arthritis, multiple sclerosis, and motor neuron disease, according to Biotech, a UK-based tech firm. For example, a wheelchair-mobile person can approach a door and the reader will unlock the door, avoiding the need for keys that the person may not be able to use for themselves. Biotech is also exploring providing microchip services for those who are visually impaired to create trigger audible or touch sensory signals in the home. Technology continues to get closer and closer to our bodies, from the phones in our pockets to the smartwatches on our wrists. Now, for some people, it's getting under their skin. In Sweden, a country rich with technological advancement, thousands have had microchips inserted into their hands. The chips are designed to speed up users' daily routines and make their lives more convenient. Accessing their homes, offices, and gyms is as easy as swiping their hands against digital readers. They also can be used to store emergency contact details, social media profiles, or e-tickets for events and rail journeys within Sweden. The global human microchip implant market size is expected to reach $40.1 billion by 2030, rising at a market growth of 5.8% CAGR during the forecast period, 2024 to 2030. European Commission President Ursula von der Leyen has announced a new European Chips Act in a special address at the Davos agenda. The act, which will be proposed in early February 2022, aims to increase microchip production across the continent in response to rising demand and to reduce dependency on suppliers from outside Europe. The European need for chips will double in the next decade, von der Leyen explained. This is why we need to radically raise Europe's game on the development, production, and use of this key technology. In a 2016 interview with Radio Television Suisse, World Economic Forum founder, Klaus Schwab, asserts that humans will have microchips implanted in their brains and under their skin by 2026. In the end, there will be a direct communication between our brain and the digital world. Klaus Schwab shared a need to mandate implant microchips by 2030. My conclusion. My last video, Daniel 9, Daniel 7, and Revelation explained, shows the rapture to be about or around 2028. Revelation 13 verses 12 to 18. The mark of the beast becomes mandated in the second half of the tribulation, called the Great Tribulation. That would mean it's mandated 3.5 years after the rapture, of if you add 2028 plus 3.5 years you get the year 2031, Matthew 24:36-44, 1 Thessalonians 5:1-3, 2 Peter 3:10, Revelation 3:3. But concerning that day and hour no one knows, not even the angels of heaven, nor the Son, but the Father only. But we can get a somewhat idea of the year of the rapture, which gives us an idea of when the mark of the beast becomes mandated. No matter what, the time is near, because it's all in place, and being used to all who wants it.